finished her master's degree and invited her parents came to the graduation. The next day, she jumped off the roof and committed suicide. In her last message, she said, "Daddy, Mommy, I've done all that you want me to do." This is very sad, but these are real stories. These are real stories. What is meaning? I was in another university, in Shandong University. The one who's in charge of student counseling said, one thing I cannot overcome is students come to me and say, I don't find any meaning. I don't find any meaning. And that is a source of many mental problems.
อาจารย์นั่นแหละกรรมฐานอาจารย์เราอะ
Therefore, should be our front and center. Because if they don't have the meaning of learning or staying on, it's not like the older days in my generation. You just graduate and become member of an organization. You're safe. That is your fate. That's your future. But it's no longer true. That is why my slogan for myself is return learning to sleep. Let them become our masters.
กลับไปใช่ไหม
Or consult. If you focus on student agency, then AI is as an individualized tool provides an unusual opportunity. Because it opens their path to learning. Opens their path to master themselves. But it depends on whether you're using it in this way. In any case, no. Here, I'm doing something, maybe a little bit boring to you, because when I came to this, many people came to it. So you never, I don't mind, okay? What I observe in schools in levels. Level 0. I train in mathematics. In mathematics, natural numbers started with 0, not with 1. Okay? Why bother? There are many reasons why you should neglect it. It's too time consuming. Teachers have no time for it. I don't think it will make any difference. New technology all the time. How to catch up. It's dangerous and will lead to cheating. Reliance on AI will make things stupid. And so on and so forth. And all these are prevalent in the news. But I think that is basically over. I think very few people will be in that category anymore. Even within 1 year, things have changed very much. Okay, level 1, learning about AI. Creating an AI. If you want to learn something, you have to do a curriculum. You have to teach. Right? This is the fundamental thinking. About AI literacy, competencies, what is AI, what are the biases, what are ethical issues, how to do content, and so on and so forth. Right? This is not bad, but I'm not totally sure if this is essentially critically important. But it reminds me of one thing in China. Until the Cultural Revolution, which ends in 1976. Have I told you how they learn driving? Have I told you? When you learn driving, the first thing is to learn theories of cars. And second, the theory of car mending, car repair. And then you learn theory of driving. And then you ride on a car and drive. Right? When I learned my driving in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the first thing I was asked is to ride on a car and drive, with no learning in theories at all. Right? I don't think nowadays in China it's very very simple. So that is learning. Does learning start with theories? This is my fundamental question. Anyway, but no harm. So I will not object to it. Creating it is the caution is learning by theory or learning by doing. What is the future of coding?
Learning by
Sorry,
doing.
I should have deleted this, but I forgot. Right? Coding is in the curriculum in many countries. Right? Many countries. But Andreas Schleicher, you know, is the OECD head of education skills. We agree on one thing: coding sooner or later will become trigonometry. Right? Of course, you have no cosine, sine, cosine, tangent, but trigonometry as a discipline is disappearing. It's disappearing because we don't use that as a science. Coding, yes, it's important now, but some people have to learn coding. But for everybody to learn coding as if this is the gateway to AI, I doubt. When I was a mathematics student in the University of Hong Kong, the first thing we learned was natural number and what we call set theory. It's about all the logics. And people think that if you know logics, you know mathematics. Well, actually you do mathematics, you learn logic by doing mathematics, rather by learning logic. Okay? And otherwise, level 2, as it stands, this is quite common in many countries.
สเต็ม
And this is the easy way to go.
อืม
Hands-on experience. Constructing a robot, an intelligent device, and so on and so forth. It's quite common in many countries. This is in China. Almost every school. Learning by doing. Right? First encounters with AI, and this is the first human-machine interaction which will become very important in human lives. The question is, what is beyond the fun? Very interesting. But what do you think they should learn, or what they have learned? Right? I'm not saying that you should force them to learn anything dry, but just playing with these robots is not enough. Now, this is common in many countries as for any other profession. In most of the other professions, AI is used for reducing the costs, reducing manpower, to make things increase its volume and speed up the process. In many schools, this is used for reducing manpower and reducing time for paperwork. Is that happening in some of your
อิส
schools?
มิสรีเป็นเท่าไหร่นะคุณ
For example, in the society I visited, principals seldom write parents' letters anymore. Right? And in one case, teachers said that this is
คุณ
easy.
คุณเนี่ย
So whenever I ask for leave from the school head, I just ask AI to write for me. And the school leader said yes, then I'll reply by AI. So parents letters, posters, press release, and so on and so forth, questionnaires, applications. This is just like any other profession. Creating space for more meaningful activities, widely used in overall schools, causing technique of minimizing human touch. Asking AI to write a parent's letter is quite different from the principal drafting a parent's letter. So the best principals use AI and then modify, right? This is almost all that we are doing. But those are not quite exciting because you know this already. Creating data ecology, this is particularly common in China, in mainland China. Creating data ecology, turning everything into data. This is happening in Shanghai, for
สร้าง
example.
Data
They create a huge model trying to turn all activities in schools, teachers teaching activities, and students learning conditions and so on and so forth into data. And turn the data into a synthesized indicator for the school and so on and so forth, and do some comparison. Right? Turning activity into data. That means of monitoring teaching and learning. One for research or pedagogy. Now this is CCTV, Central Television in China, about 2 months ago. This is in Zhejiang, in another province, south of Shanghai. Every child is with EGG. What do you think? What do you think? This was the case about 6 or 5 years ago. It was at one time forbidden by the Ministry of Education. But now it is propagated by CCTV. But CCTV didn't say it is right or wrong. This is a commercial thing. And asking the customers, which are schools, say, I can turn everything into data. And for every child, you have a whole range of data. You know what the child is. To me, it looks horrible. Right? Maybe next time, when you have anything up and roll, everybody will be sitting here and so forth.
จับอย่างนี้เลย
Creating data ecology is good for systemic control, yes. For the whole city, even for one school, you know very well what is happening. It's increasing teachers, and so once some students say, oh, this is good for me, because I know where I am in my learning. For example, learning, I was a physics teacher. In learning physics, they cut the procedures, the understanding into many, many steps. And students follow the steps. So students say, yeah, this is good. I know where I am. The caution is, you are reducing students' ages. You are depriving students of thinking how to do things rather than telling them what to do. But if you believe in AI, you think, this is good. AI can do it for me. They didn't understand that AI is actually depriving you, is grabbing away from you your activity. Right? It's also increasing teachers' agency. We seldom mention teachers' agency, but teachers have their own agency. Teachers, sometimes we call it autonomy. Autonomy becomes very political. Right? When you say agency, it's slightly more peaceful. In many countries, in China, teachers' classrooms are quite open. When you have one teacher teaching and your whole row of teachers sitting at the back and watching and then discuss. But in many countries, in some cases, in international organizations, teachers will say, no, when I close the classroom door, it is my territory. I will not allow any people to interfere. This is another kind of culture. But teacher has agency, otherwise how can teachers teach? Students are different, the class climates are different, and teachers have to be very different each time. This is, I think, for those where
ระดับ5เป็นผู้ช่วยสอน
have done comprehensive assistance to teachers activities, materials, designing lesson plans, constructing PPTs, setting test papers, and marking. I saw in our because I didn't have really have time to download what she has done here. But we can show that later. In many societies, teachers are using AI themselves. There's no permission, no encouragement. They just use it. How can you resist? No. Quicker, richer. Right? And to many, this is good. This is to make students learn better. My question is, what do you mean by better? I mean more? Quicker?
เป็นผู้ช่วยครู
Learning deeper?
คิดอะไร
What do you
เซ
mean
ฟ
by?
ทามนะ
Because
เซฟทาม
I
parent teaching
have some
Thailand.
questions, some
Thailand
doubts
income.
about whether using AI can improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of learning. What do you mean by effective learning? In many cases, when you come to research, they say you get higher scores. Using higher scores means learning better because there's no alternative proxy. But we, as teachers, we all know that a student grows, a student learns, not because of the amount of information, not because of the time they take, and so on and so forth. Right? I'm doing too far. It might reduce teachers' originality and creativity. I do PPT almost 3 or 4 times a week.
มันจะทำให้ครูแบบ
Don't give it to AI. It's an art piece.
มันดี
You have to use your mind. You have to think of each word and each page and so on and so forth. How can AI do this?
ต้องเอาสองอย่างมารวมกัน
It might perceive out of date pedagogy. Because AI can only help you on what you have been doing. It will not innovate on pedagogy. I'm not sure I didn't mention last time. Marking, for example. Marking for writing. There's a common belief, a traditional convention that you will mark. Since essays have been marked. When I was a student, the Chinese composition essay, teacher have to mark word by word. Otherwise, we say the teacher is not responsible. And after the marking, we have to copy the marked paper essay by Chinese brush, word by word. When I was a school principal many years ago, 1979, I started a school in a poor area where the student came in secondary 1 to 7th grade. Their English standard is only grade 3. So we try to improve their writing. And one very experienced, seasoned teacher came to me and said, you have to ask them to write diaries. I said, diaries? How can you mark diaries? Now, in those days, we have 40 people, 50 people in a class. Right? Marking one paper for 2 weeks is already very heavy. But the teacher said, it's not for marking. That can happen. Writing improves by writing, reading, and connected to life. We follow that, and all our students became much better in English in their future life. None of them became very prominent intellectuals, but their English standard improved. So if you think of that, if the machine can help you in marking, then it deprives you the opportunity to think whether I should keep on marking. Is marking really helping students? Because it's so convenient. And teacher may say, give them more assets. You will mark, you can mark more easily. Hey, wake up.
ไปต่อแล้ว
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now this is the kind of all these are marking apps in Chinese. When I told the parents, you are so ignorant. I have this every day. I just saw it, just swipe. So my son is essay will become much better.
App.
Interactive class. Now this is very interesting. I'll give you one
นี่
good example.
สมาร์ทส
and
กรีน
one
บอร์ด
example which is, I think is controversial.
interactive
Recording teacher writing, student text, analyzing responses, interactive responses, which is activity. This happens in school in Zhejiang. In the first 40 minutes every morning, the first 40 minutes, the teacher will teach on the screen, interactive screen board, and the students interact with the pen. 40 minutes. This is how it was done. Students' responses immediately are captured by the screen, and when the teacher point to number 7, the responses will come out, and so on and so forth. And the screen, the interactive screen, AI screen, will immediately analyze the whole classes activities. Then, after 40 minutes, 30 minutes is for students to do the receipt work, and the teachers discuss on the same class and the same lesson, discuss together at the back, and so on and so forth. It is AI plus humans. It is one example. Now, this is another example. This is another example that Miss Hawk was also watching in Shenzhen, China. It is about human body chemistry.
chemical
The class ended up with a debate on hamburger. What are the pros and cons of hamburger? Yes. Very detailed plan, step by step. And AI is everywhere. Every juncture, every step depends on AI. Well designed, AI everywhere. However, when you watch the class, it's a common class what I call. Teachers is a very able general. She's running about to answer questions and to instruct the students. However, students become busy followers. There's footsteps. There's no agency. AI is destroying student agency and enhancing student agency. So I'm giving you 2 examples of how this will work. Let me go on. Now up to this level, little to do with student learning. It's basically about schools and students. From following, we're starting with student
assessment
agency as I understand it. I know this is becoming a little bit boring, but it makes it feel slightly interesting.
ใช้งาน
Assessment is this
Assessment.
is the easiest way to introduce AI into teaching. That is on top, beyond hand and take tests. Students are allowed to are encouraged to produce the outcome of their learning by creative, generative, visualized presentation of learning outcomes. This is quite common, and the software for this is everywhere, widespread, and many of them are free. The pictures, photos, poems, songs, cartoons, games, and so on and so forth. Besides, I say besides paper pen text. I have to write down this in particular. Otherwise, people say, no, we have to handle tests. We have to submit marks. Submit score. Yes, don't forget it. Don't forget it. You know, in this university, when I just visited, I came one thing. They have all the students' credits. Half of them are on their specialized learning, and half of them are on activities. So the academic element follows the Ministry of Education's regulations, curriculum, just taken for granted. I use this word a lot. Taken for granted. You cannot forget it. Like eating and
เซเว่นพิกเจอร์โฟโต้
but then they have created another half of the activities. This is in a certain school. It's a picture book. It's a report on a village visit, Hakka village. You go to this school, half of its library are students' publications, and it's very interesting. Because in this process, this is another case, is a cartoon. The students play themselves into an astronaut and fly to the moon and visit the fairy in the moon. It's called Tang. And he said, you must be very lonely here. Maybe I can bring you back to the earth and try to find your lover. Because the Tanga flew to the moon because he lost her lover and so on and so forth. It's a very interesting cartoon. But Tanga said that, no, I'm quite good here. You go back. This is a summary of learning AI after 2 weeks learning about AI by primary 5 students. The teacher said that you can express some of your learning by one of these 5 modes. By video, by letter, by poster, by story, by song.
ตัวอย่างนะ
This is the student turn his views into a poem and use sonar to turn the poem into a song. เคยที่บอกอ่านอย่างเนาะเคยที่บอกอ่านอย่างเนาะที่บอกอ่านเนาะว่าก็สวย
อันนี้วันที่เราคิดไอ้แหวนวันที่10เนี่ย
视频有吗 Yes No sound Okay Just a rap 刚才你买的 That's fine because we do have another
We flip, we fry, egg puffs so fly, reaching for.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. Okay. From what students know to what students can do or can produce. This is fundamental.
ต้องดูเวลาด้วย
This is a fundamental sense of assessment. You know what the
student know
human resources managers
what student can doดูและทำอะไร
They said, I don't mind what you have done before. I want to know what you can do later. And this is fundamental. very often we try to test them what I've taught you. Can you memorize? Can you understand? But what is more important is what you can do. Understanding creativity is required. The caution is sometimes they create this for fun, very interesting, but may not mean understanding. This is what they call it flip classrooms.
ฟลิป
Doing
ลง
activities before teaching, and topic to consult AI.
ให้
Self-study
ดู
is
ก่อน AI มันง่ายแล้วก็เดี๋ยวมางั้นเอง
sharing questions. This I learned from school in Taiwan. In each learning unit, the teacher will produce a challenging text list.
challenge question
How to answer this.
a list of challenge
How to capture
question.
original knowledge. Let's learn on the starting point. Many of these could be done without that. Now this is an example appreciating a famous poem by Liu Guangzhou, which is a very famous poet. And she just tells the students the general framework of that poem and asks the students to create their own poem according to that kind of sentiment. So immediately you have 30, 40 poems, and you can compare with the famous poet. It's a way of asking the students to learn how to appreciate a good poem. One teacher cannot produce 30 poems, but AI can do it. This is just a continuation. Now I had this. This is a true story. A primary four student.
เกรดโฟ
Teacher said,
Some
could you
coffee.
turn to the AI and prepare the next lesson on the transfer of the transmission of heat. And this is exactly what comes out. Only the English for the title. I'm a primary person and so on and so forth. Oh, I'm going to see. The first reply is, yes, of course. Okay,
เรียนตลอด
Then the first thing is what is it and how you switch must be. And the first one is give a few experiments to demonstrate what is conduction. And then another experiment on convection. All these are obtainable at home. And experiment 3 is about radiation. I give you a consolidation and quiz. So it's very comprehensive. But then you have to think, what would the teacher do? This lesson soon come up with different preparations, and AI has a particular feature that you ask the same question different times,
เบรกแรกแล้วครับ
different students will get different answers. So teachers will be getting a very splendid array of different. Traditional teacher will say this is chaotic. But you use AI, you think this is splendid. Because suddenly you have so many different ways of looking at this issue. And that is when you say how teachers are prepared, the preparation is mainly to prepare for student diversity, student interaction. This is going to students themselves. I know it's already too long. The trouble, caution, it's not the
ช่
same
วย
thing.
เผื่อคนช่วยเด็กนะ
อืม
AI, for example, AI marketing. Write an essay, tell the AI,
ให้เป็นผู้ช่วยเด็ก
give you comment and
as
suggestions
student
for reading.
assistant
In that process, you're assuming that AI is right, is an authority. AI is just collating everything it could get from the what you call the data seed and give you the marking. Right? Some teachers will try to produce a rubric on the standard marking to the machine, and that is slightly better. Some teachers will ask the student to interact with AI. Right? I agree with the comment, but I don't agree with the suggestion. Your comment is maybe good, but I don't agree, and so on and so forth. That makes students think. Right? The most advanced way I saw one teacher ask the students to do the whole class to mark particular essay and discuss. If you were me, you were a teacher, how would you mark this paper? And it becomes very heated debate and a very noisy class. And eventually, the teacher said, what they come up with as a consensus is more or less my point. However, they are divergent. They are controversial. Let them flow. Let them flow. And this is what, and come up with, you think the level of learning in that lesson is so deep. Teachers are movement and political partnership, I already mentioned. Some teachers, for example, coming back to marking and essay, some teachers ask them to interact with AI and then ask them to get a screenshot of the interactions, of the dialogues. And that is very good because it becomes open, transparent, and there's no danger of any plagiarism. And students learn a lot. And when the whole class open to each other, the learning experience is very, very rich. This is a teacher, a Chinese language teacher. Students generate questions, and the teacher turns herself into a chatbot, and students interact with the chatbot, and then students write down their reflection. Unfortunately, this is all in Chinese. So, student questions, the teacher, because one teacher cannot answer questions of
จะได้ตั้งคำถาม
the chatbot can
สร้าง
do
สรร
that.
ค์แล้วก็
And later on, the student will give their reflection, so teachers will understand what they've gained from these interactions. Maybe this is the last one. Open partner. Display interactions. This is more or less what I've said. It's basically, you see from the levels I mentioned, the center of gravity gradually moves to the students. And teachers are still essential, but teachers play a very different role. Okay. Self-study. I'm not asking the students to do everything, but at least there should be a window for them to exercise self-study. This is what I got from Shanghai School. It's basically design thinking. I'm sorry. No. I have to explain. They form a group and then find the problem, analyze the problem, find the solutions, and then identify the better solution and do a pilot, and then optimize the pilot, and then
PBL.
go show. You see on the top, there are three kinds of icons.
เหมือนแบบมีโรบอทติดหัวไปข้าง
Human
ๆเลย
brain
นะโรบอททีนี้มันคิดเองอันนี้คันแผ่นนิ่งเนี่ยคันแผ่นนิ่งก็มีโรบอทมันก็เขาไปลงมือ
kind
ท
of Google
ำใช่ไหมตรวจสอบก็ใช้โรบอท
and
ใช่ไหมเนี่ย
AI.
มันจะมีอันหนึง
At
ที่ไม่
different
ใช้
points, has
And
different.
these
So
are
I think
robot.
I appreciate this very much because it really tells the student you have to use your brain in parallel with whatever technology can provide. Now, my summary, from 1 to 6, improving what we have been doing, quicker, better, richer, deeper.
ใช่ไหม
However, still not teaching. We preserve current pedagogy
ที่หนึ่งที่หก
we don't know whether it should be sustained. But both levels, we start flying things in master level. We can integrate the two. So this is my summary. I know it is a bit long, but thank you for not falling asleep. But unless I tell you the whole array, you will not know what I'm talking about. Right? You learn only by telling the differences. Thank you.
เอายา
Thank you for not taking a nap. Okay. Everything of AI,
ของเขาแล้ว
the cautions as a tool is unprecedented.
มีความรับทาง
It never happened. So it's new to everybody.
ตัวเองไม่พูดทำไมเปิดไม่ได้เพราะตัวเองอาจจะพูด
The pros is enhancing agency.
คุณก็คืออะไร
But the cons is revision agency. That's the litmus test. That's the litmus test. I'm just
ระหว่างเรียน
arranging what I've seen. You might have your own experience. Try to analyze what is happening by thinking of whether they make students think or they are reduced students thinking. This is a very easy, simple litmus test. Pros. Enhancing the scope, depth and speed of learning. Students may exceed school limits. Students may surpass exams and curriculum. Become masters of their own learning. This is a good sign. Very good sign. I can say students will, I don't say
ตัวเองพูดก่อนเปิดไม่ได้
forget the curriculum. No, they still have to
เปิดได้แล้ว
follow the curriculum to even surpass.
ฝ่าย
The cons,
เราคนที่
revision activities. They do less. Reducing student thinking, this is the most critical, crucial. Because AI, different from other machines, other technology, is that it's a thinking machine. Right? You rely on it, it can think for you. For example, one thing which is not disappearing from the teacher's agenda is book report. Book report. Right? AI cannot read for the student, but he can write a book report for the students. And it drives the student of reading and thinking. Right? Students and parents think this is convenient, very convenient. They didn't know that because of this, you are depriving the students the opportunity to read and think. Right? This is another possibility. Right? I saw one video by Han Academy. You know Han Academy is famous. And the founder of Han is demonstrating, this is an open AI advertisement. He's teaching his child how to learn triangle,
how to learn
right angle triangle. I said, this is ridiculous. You see, now this is a hypotenuse. This is a right angle triangle. This is a right angle. I said, these students learn by looking at the picture once, and they understand by using it. Not by telling this is hypotenuse, this is hypotenuse, this is hypotenuse. So, no, I'm not trying to criticize, but that video really heartens me. Is this what AI is trying to do? And also, living under control. This is, for example, data monitoring system. The teacher will say, oh, everywhere there's camera. Students will say that, yeah, I have to be careful, and so on and so forth. Yes, they have to be careful, not because they want to be careful, not that they need to be careful, they want to be careful because they are being watched. Reducing human interaction, this is fundamental. This is fundamental. For example, there is an app, very wonderful app for all examinations.
ให้นักเรียนได้ทำกิจกรรมได้คิดสร้าง
and
คว
even
บ
the
คุม
dialects
กิจกรรมทั้งความคิด
in China, there's so many dialects,
อินเตอร์
and also the grammar and so on and so forth. But one teacher listening to that presentation said, well, when I do oral test examination, I don't only listen to what I heard, I look at the mentality, how to face challenges and so on and so forth. And then all these AI cannot tell me. That is human interaction. The critical is AI is a tool, students master, not the other way around. And this is where education is facing this new mission.
เขาก็ไปขายอาจารย์นะเหมือนกันเนาะ
The critical
ใช่
is not the role of AI, but rather the role
ใช่
เหมือนอาจารย์ทำดีอ่ะ
AI ครับพิมเมนอะไรนะ AI ครับ
But the PPT
AI รับ
you can write us later. Lieutenant general students does not start from AI. I'll give you a few examples and then we'll. This is in Japan, Akita. Akita is famous for its wine, for its dogs. But Akita is also the best prefecture in Japan in terms of academic results. When I moved into the primary school, all the walls are posted with students' work. It's like this. Like this. What are these? The teacher, this is a very good essay. So the teacher draw a flower. If it is just a path, the teacher will draw a circle.
อะไรอะ
But
เขียนผิดเลย
this is a grade 3, third grade assignment. But it is marked by commented by G5 student and also by G6 student. Right? And then the student later on,
student on student ออกให้เรียนฟีดแบ็กกันเอง
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. First of all, the students are no longer focusing on marks, on scores. They focus on how people comment. The primary 5 and primary 6 students commenting on other people's work is a big learning. It's a great learning. And also, so this is the first time I
great
realize
man.
students can help students. But don't mistake, marking is not always
มี
about
เรื่อง
right
ที่
and wrong.
อบรมวิทยากร
It's
AI ไม่ใส่ก็เองป่ะ
learning is a process. Right
ให้
and
เป็นวิทยากร
wrong push the learning to its top point.
ส่งไป
So
ให้นะ
I'm sorry.
อะไรหรอก
I'm not skeptical about the whole notion of 100 marks. It's a ceiling. It's silly. Everybody fails. In China, you get
แค่มีลูกตัวเองถือไหมโอเคแล้ว
the parents say, why don't you get
ไม่รู้
one?
ยังแค่นี้
Anyway, this is
PM
mindfulness. It
PLK
happens in quite a number of Hong Kong schools.
ทำนี่ชงไข่
The school, when they started this, they thought, this is so naughty.
ตั้
But
ง
they
สติ
practice
ไว้เนี่ย
it for 5 minutes every morning, and
5
the
minutes
whole school becomes very good. Because it's one way
Buddhist
of asking you to think, to think beyond what is bothering you, what is controlling you, and so on and so forth.
ตั้งสมาธิ
And it works now in many, many schools. That was during pandemic, you can see. This is in one school in Hong Kong, and they still with Chang San and so forth. It's a very traditional school.
ปิดตา
But during pandemic, they asked you to go to the community and find what you can do for the community. It's a design thinking that start from students. And they found that they can do something for the visually impaired, with the blind people. And they design all kinds of scientific means, and also they design a media for the community about how they should behave when they see people with visual problems. So this is not
กิจกรรมนะ
This is เขาเรียกก็อ้างภาษาตรงนี้อ้างภาษา This school every week has a concert, and every week there is a poem night. This is a musical Hamilton. And you can see from the students that they are very, very
เหมือน SEL อะไรเนาะทำให้เนี่ยเหมือนกิจกรรมของ SEL มันก็มีโอ้ไม่เป็นไรหรอกต่อพูดเลยนะ
This school teaches philosophy.
มันอยู่ข้างในเราแค่ให้เห็นภาพว่างก็พอแล้ว
You see that each student is a master of himself or herself. Controversies,
คนโทน
misconceptions, blind and absolute digitization. Everything can be digitized. Anything that is digitized is a good thing. Is modern. Modernization of obsolete habits.
ทำให้เป็นไร
People about innovations. They think anything you use AI is an innovation. AI
ก็ใช่ไงนี่โฟกัสออนคัสลู
All these are opposite to the return values. Worries. At ground roots, AI reduces the student. This is quite widespread in some parts of the world. AI may sway students towards suicide. Use of AI in schools should be forbidden. These are some of
คอน
the
โทรล
voices. This is a teacher, Anna Maria. She's in U.S. teaching a student at a junior school. Students are indulged in iPad, TikTok, ChatGPT. They refuse to write. When you ask them to write, they become angry. When you ask them to read, they say no. They are not learning at all. I quit. This is very sad. You can see from the and is echoed by thousands of teachers. Some said, listen, you come to my school. I'm facing worse than you. This is Natalia Bosnia. She's an MIT researcher. She worked on 54 students from Boston. Have you seen this? Yeah, from Boston. Okay, 15. No, I don't need 15 minutes. Okay, and divide them into 3 groups. Have I told you this story? No. Group 1 use AI only. Group 2 use search engine only. Group 3 use brain only. And use EEG to measure the activity of their brain. The first group activity is the lowest. The last group, the brain only group, the activity is the strongest. Almost understand. And Google is in the middle. 4 weeks later, she asked them to write 3 essays. And 4 weeks later, she asked them to write the same essay, similar essay. This time, 2 groups. The first group who used to use AI now have to use their brain only. The second group, which used to use brain only, now use AI. And she found that the first group has no memory of what they have done. They almost don't own the essay they wrote 4 weeks ago because their brain didn't work very well. The last group, however, their brain is even more active because they based on what they did 4 weeks ago and use AI to enrich them. So she claimed that this is not a very rigorous study and not reviewed, but she got millions of responses like, yes, you are right. Even you don't do that, I know, but you have done it, right? And so it really tells us that, and she said that if you use AI unwisely, we'll create a kind of brain debt or cognitive debt. That is, your brain is not working, and brain works only, the brain grows only by working. If it doesn't work, it will not grow. It will not grow. So it reminds me, this is quite common, that it's more or less like doing exercise. Right? If you don't do exercise, you become idle and you become weak in your strength. If you know your strength, then your brain will become idle. Now this is apparent in Hong Kong, but this is record, not a real life. I heard her say, according to my understanding of my son, she will not be able to write it. You know what it means? You know what it means? It means that he must be using AI, right? It's not a positive comment. He must be using AI. Children become reliant and intimate to robots. Can you read?
And
I copied the photo from quite a few schools
เด็กกลายเป็นอะไร
like this.
ได้แล้ว
Your child come back and say, Mom, Daddy, I've got a very good friend.
เนาะ
It never shouts at me. It's always so tender, so polite. Right? Is this your dream? Is this your dream? It could be true that your child will come back one day with such a robot. And in many videos and so on and so forth, the symbol of advancement in technology is robot in classroom, teaching in classroom, This is a real thank you.
โอ้